Oh my God, I just totally got catfished. He looks absolutely nothing like his picture.
So I found out the guy that I've been dating is married with kids. His wife just reached out to me.
Welcome to the meat market. The single scene is a slaughterhouse, and we are here to devour it. We are your hosts. I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Jess.
And today's sizzling single is the Matt Broom.
No applause. No, please. Don't stand up. Don't stand up.
We're lucky. He's a bit of a local celebrity, Matt Broom. He does stand-up comedy all across the state and actually nationwide, right?
Yeah, I like that you're like local. He's in this area code only.
Apache Junction. You do venture out.
I do travel the entire U.S.
So I have a question. When you are performing a set, have you ever had a joke just fall completely flat to where everyone's quiet, it's crickets, and you're standing there cringing? Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, yeah, no, that happens all the time.
All the time? Every set?
Every set. It's normally just crickets. It's just silence for most of my shows.
Yeah? So how did you get into stand-up comedy? You're just naturally so funny?
Just dumb luck,
yeah?
Really. I was, before I became a stand-up comedian, I was the regional director for Morgan Stanley, making millions of dollars. And then I decided to throw that away when the market crashed, and I would just happen to be at this little bar that was having a comedy contest, and I was with one of my best friends, and I mentioned to him that the guy sucked, and he heard me. Which was
the guy on the stage heard you? The guy doing the set heard you? Oh.
Yeah. Which I thought I was being quiet, but and he's like, well, if you think you can do better once you get up here, I was like, okay. And so then I got up and ended up winning the contest. I was like, oh,
that's hilarious.
Hey, this isn't that bad. And then the market crashed, and so I was like, well, what am I going to do now?
Do you usually, are your sets usually real life stories? Like, do funny things just happen to you in real life?
Funny or horrific things happen to me in life. Yes, most of my stuff is all stories of me in my real life. I don't.
He's super funny. I was his number one fan for a while, showing up at every single show. I'm watching you.
Like the groupie. Are there comedy groupies?
You know what? We do have groupies, and they're called chuckle somethings.
Like a buckle bunny,
like a chuckle fuckers. But are we allowed to cuss on this?
Like
one?
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So we have chuckle fuckers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you ever banged a chuckle fucker?
Mom, close your ears. I have. Okay, so maybe, yeah, I guess. I suppose.
How many? Can you count on two hands?
I mean, I can count on two hands. Yeah, I think that.
Is it
I'm a pretty good counter.
Do you have a trailer? Do you take them back to your dressing room? Is it like?
So no, technically, I guess it would be the green room. You have the green room behind stage.
Okay.
However, it's not like being a rock star. Comedy is, first of all, most of us are ugly. That's just a thing. And then there's no really hot comics out there or leading men comics. Because we all have to have a dark past or be made fun of our entire lives to
it's true.
Bring it out. And the other thing too is with comedy shows is it is typically a couple's.
It's like a date night. It is. It's a lot. It's like a date night thing.
There's no bachelor at parties going to the comedy club normally. Yeah. And if it is, it's not the bachelor party you want to be there.
Well, there's that one comic now. Is it Matt Rife?
Yeah.
That he talks about sex a lot, and I feel like he gets audience involvement, and so I feel like that. He sort of now it is and more single women I think are going to his shows.
Okay, so Matt's one of the first really hot comics. Though. That's the only problem. It was, I guess Dane Cook was doing okay, although he's not. I mean. Anyway, but there's not a lot of
super good looking
leading men type comics,
except
for true. Matt. Right, Matt's.
I used to live in Old Town Scottsdale, right by the Comedy Spot. Which you used to perform at the Comedy Spot all the time. Yeah. Do you remember Jose, a comedian called Jose? He was a Puerto Rican, I think. Super, super good looking. Anyways, I used to go there all the time because I was walking distance and I love to laugh. And I stayed at the end to say hi to him and thank him for such a great show. And he ended up, texting me and flew me out to see a bunch of his shows. And that was
you were a chuckle fucker.
You're a chuckle fucker. You are a chuckle fucker.
Cringe. But yeah, so he was one good-looking comedian that I've, well, two, you. Two.
Thank you.
I only know two, Matt Broom and Jose.
I've got a good personality. I'm just a fat girl.
So you have been in a couple polyamorous marriages. I want to talk about that. Like, I want to know all the details.
Because that's the trend. Right out of the gate.
Yes, we're jumping right into it because that's the trend now.
No foreplay, no nothing.
The hot topic.
We're going
right to polyamory.
Foreplay is overrated. So that is the trend now, is polyamorous relationships. People are inviting, people into their marriages or their relationships, throuples. So I want to hear about your stories.
Okay.
So the first time you had a polyamorous relationship, was it with your ex-wife?
It was yeah. I mean, I've been in a gambit of relationships. Like I did the swing scene for a little bit. I've done it just because it's very difficult with my line of work, like being on the road and doing things. Like you have to have kind of an open relationship for it to work sometimes. And my first polyamorous relationship was. Yeah, we were married, but it was definitely a marriage of. She was just my best friend at the time, and it just worked. And she was like, at this time I was doing a lot of shows in Vegas. This is when I had my residency in Vegas, and so I was there a lot. And she's like, "Look, Matt, I know that you're, because of your job, you don't want to be settled down and all this other stuff." And she was pretty well to do as well. Her ex was like a billionaire, and so she's like, "Well, all I want is, for us to get married because I love spending time with you. I just want you to, come home to me, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to work anymore if you don't want to. Like, I'll take care of you. The only thing I ask is if I can bring home a woman every once in a while." I was like, okay.
Where do I sign up?
Am I being punked right now? Like, what is happening? Like, there's got to be a catch to this. And no, that's what she wanted. And so I think if it wasn't her idea, it would never happen. Like, I feel like it's much easier when it's the females, want and desire to
And
add
she
someone.
just wanted a third every once in a while, or did she want a third to be, another part of your relationship?
So initially it was just every once in a while, I want to spruce things up. And then it kind of transformed into, I like spending time with this person. Let's move her in. And
ooh, so how do you meet these other women that you would move in? Are there websites?
Or was it just one? Or was it just one?
Apps?
Was it just the one?
It was just the one. So originally when we first met, it was open. It wasn't really. We just had an open marriage, and for the first 2 years we didn't do anything. I didn't even cross my mind, which was kind of nice too, because when you have that openness, there's no risk of I don't know, the temptation's gone, I guess, because
that's true.
there's no thrill of doing something.
You're not hiding. Yeah, you're not hiding anything.
No
you're
excitement
not,
of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first 2 years we were still just very plain vanilla, and just going through life, and then
Monogamous
Right.
in the first 2 years of
Right.
the relationship. Okay.
And then we decided to spice it up a little bit. And I met the person through comedy, actually. I was working at a club, and someone that worked at the club started talking to me, and we were, discussing. She put a kid up for adoption, and I'm adopted, so we just found some common ground to bond on. And then I took her out a couple times, and she knew that I was married, and I didn't keep it a secret by any stretch of the imagination. And then we went out a couple times, and then I was like, "Hey, would you be willing to, come and go on a, I don't want to say double date because it's not
Triple
double
date?
a triple date or a
Throuple date?
the triad."
You call it a triangle date.
And we did, and everybody got along, and it was all right. However, the problem with that was the girl that I brought into what ended up being a throuple. She wasn't bisexual. She wasn't.
Interesting. So she didn't do
really
anything with
interested.
your wife.
No, she did eventually, but
It wasn't her
It wasn't
main
her
thing.
thing. She just wanted to spend.
But your wife was into it. She was
Right, no,
bisexual.
yeah,
and
she
she
did.
wanted
That was
it.
her.
That was her thing.
Her thing. And so that was difficult in itself, is trying to, I don't want to say coax or I mean, you're starting a relationship with two people. Like, dating's hard alone, just with one person. And so then when you're dealing with two people, and then, you know, as time goes by, there's jealousy of like, well, is she doing this better? Is he doing this better? Is, you know, are you spending more time with this person? Are you spending more time with this person? Then you're juggling even more.
And as a man, to have to deal with two women, you know, that time of the month when their cycles are kind of,
you're really hoping that they match up. Like, you guys should hang out more often. Like, sync this thing up, please. Like, let's get this on track. So, yeah, it is, as much as it sounds amazing, because I know every single comic that I knew was like, Matt, how are you doing this? Like, this is fantastic that they're both going out with you, and they're, you know, you guys share the same bed. You guys share all this.
I was just going to ask that. Did you all three share the same bedroom, or were there? Did they each have their own bedrooms, and there was like one for the couple? Like, what was the bed? What's the bedroom situation?
We had
a big bed, California King.
Yeah, California King. I don't even know where we got the bed. I feel like it was bigger than a California King. I really do.
It was a
massive bed.
Were you Big Spoon? How does that work? Who was in the middle?
It was like a reverse Oreo is what it was. It was just me in the middle.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was in the
really
middle.
Funny.
And but I sleep weird too. Like, I don't move. I just sleep on my side, and I don't go anywhere. So it wasn't even. It's not like people were stretching out and trying to kick me off the bed.
When you were intimate, was it all three of you all the time at the same time? Or did you and your wife do it separately did you kind of switch it up? Like,
again, you know, when people think of like polyamory and Throuples and things like that, I think people have this idea of like some porn scene
it's just
where
crazy wild
just
like
crazy,
it's like orgies every night.
Orgies every single night. They're on the sex swings and the whips are coming out. And like,
that's kind of how I envisioned it.
I'm spraying wax on everybody. I'm like, woo, woo.
Liquid latex over everyone.
You got like one on the chandelier. You've got the other one tied up, like hog-tied to the bedpost.
Who's gonna be my good girl? Who's gonna be my good girl? You my good girl or my good girl? No, like, I feel like that's how everybody thinks of it, and it really isn't. It was more of like a I don't want to say commune, but we were all working together at the same thing. And the other thing too is both females in this situation had kids. So again, when you have one relationship, it's hard dealing with just, you know, one of the kids asleep, one of the kids are not doing this, and you don't want to, or I didn't want to, like, flaunt it in front of them. So we weren't like going around, you know, the house all day naked and slapping ass or anything like that, because there was children present.
Yeah.
So when you moved this other woman in, did the kids move in as well with her?
No, at that point, I don't know if we're using names or not, but we'll do Jane and I don't know.
Jane and Joe.
Jane and Doe.
Jane and Doe.
No, she, the Doe, the second one that we were moving in, she didn't have her kids at the time, so it was.
So did Jane ever get jealous?
Kind of, but not. I don't know. Yes, she definitely got jealous, and the other one everybody got jealous at one point in time, except for me. I was never jealous of anything.
Just
living the dream. Just living the dream.
King Matt.
No, you guys find it
Stirring
out.
the pot. Did you get carpal tunnel? He's over there like stirring up the drama.
Yeah.
So did you have a preference? Like, did you start to feel more for Doe than you did for Jane? Did you start to like do things privately with Doe?
So, yes. So Jane, she was having some medical issues, not like sexual transmitted or anything that we're talking about. Like
from all the crazy sex
we're having,
like just regular health issues, you know.
Yeah. It wasn't anything that you'd find on Van Buren over here. No, she had not autoimmune. That might be AIDS. No, she had something. She had something that I couldn't even pronounce, like some medical thing that I still don't know how to say. I'm not insensitive. I just can't say it. But so she just became like more of a homebody and didn't want to go out anywhere. So she just like never left the bed at one point. And so Doe was like, well, I want to go out. And I always had to go out just because I had, shows and red carpets and networking events that I
And were
I
you
had
still
to
in
be
Vegas at this time?
Well, at this time, I was going back and forth.
Okay.
So I was in Vegas, and then we had a place in the Biltmore area.
Okay.
And
So you're living in two, like, very fun cities, basically.
Correct.
Like, you're, like, in big going out cities. So it's
Yes.
hard, to be with someone who's basically on bed rest.
And at this point, I was like, my career was ramping up. Like, I just won like the next Vegas headliner competition in Vegas, and I was doing other things. And I will say it did kind of detract from my career, because then I started dealing with the double relationship, because it is, again, it could be double the fun, but it is also double the
stress,
and problems and everything else. And so, especially when those two, would only get along on occasion, because again, one was there for me and the other one was.
So how did it end ultimately?
So ultimately, I broke up with Jane, the wife,
the main one,
and left with
left her for dough. How did Jane take that?
Not well.
Was it like a coup? Like, was it planned? Like, you and Doe sort of like planned this separation, or was it a decision that you made more for yourself?
No, it was more for myself. Like, breaking that is also a different thing, is because breaking it turned into a completely separate situation. So the one had medical problems, and then the other had a little bit of an alcohol problem. And so the alcohol problem may have contributed, but it also probably intensified because she was in an uncomfortable position. So,
would you have left your ex-wife regardless of whether there were another person in the mix or not?
Yes, I think I was, and because. As amazing as it sounded, the deal that I was getting, like, I am actually like a very Disney, like, happy ever ending, like ever after. Like, I'm like old school romantic. Like, I want to be in love.
Yeah.
And it was more convenience than. And don't get me wrong, I loved her very much, but it wasn't like we fell in love and I courted her for years. Like, we met on Tinder, and like she paid her kids to be good that day. Like, it wasn't anything like that. So and we're still friends. It wasn't like a bad breakup or anything like that. It just was like, you know what, this isn't what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But she did spiral downward afterwards. But I mean, soon after that, she sent me a huge text message saying, like, thank you for doing that. Like, it changed my life. It made me get back out of my head and do this. And she dropped like 30 pounds and, was.
Oh, good for her. And she's happy now.
Yeah.
The silver lining.
Yeah. So it worked out in the end. And then, the other one just turned into a complete train wreck, and I was like, okay. Well,
Right,
the alcoholism took over at that point. It was like, we're just going to spiral.
She was just, I would go on tour. Like, I was in Minnesota for the week or something at, like, the House of Comedy, and she would just, like, go on benders and never come home. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's not cool. So, and that was the other thing, too, was our relationship originally was open, but then once it became the throuple, then it was closed. And so
it was closed with the three of you.
So right. Yeah. But it ultimately, it was really only closed with two of us. Yeah. As we found out. Later.
In the end.
So,
But did it give you some good, like, material to use during your comedy shows? Did you ever do jokes about your relationship, or no?
Did you not touch it? The sad thing is, I didn't touch it.
What?
I didn't touch it.
That is a gold mine.
It is a gold mine. And every comic that I toured with and went with, like, they used me as an example in all the jokes all the time. And I was like, I don't, like, they'll come to a show. I don't want to, like,
make them cry. You don't want to be crying in the audience.
Yeah, so it was.
So then fast forward to your second marriage. You also did the same thing. You invited a third person in. Tell us about that one. Did that go better?
Whoa.
Wait, I thought you were just poly in one of your marriages.
Yeah, I was. Are we making
I thought you said
Lindsay's trying to start rumors.
Are we starting things? Like Matt is the polyamorous king. Like all he does is find women and.
I thought in your most recent marriage, you also had a third person that you brought into the relationship. Did I misunderstand?
Yeah, no, that didn't. Okay. I mean, again, in my third marriage, she did bring in a violinist.
Oh, third marriage. Sorry, you've been married 3 times.
Yeah.
So I can't keep track of those.
So the first one,
sorry.
The first one, I was very young in the Marine Corps, and it was very like she was Mexican Italian. If I would have even looked at another girl, like I was being stabbed. And, she was very, very possessive.
Okay, but your most recent one.
My most recent one. I guess I was in a throuple inadvertently, or I didn't know I was in the throuple. If that makes any sense.
Interesting.
So unbeknownst to you.
Unbeknownst to me.
You were in a throuple.
Because your wife was in a relationship with someone else behind your back? Or what? Or
well, yeah, towards the no, I don't even know how to put this one because we're still going through it. But
it's a sensitive subject.
It's not sensitive. It hurts. No, it's no. So my third relationship was another actress, and I met her on set, and in the beginning, before we were married, she just was unaware that we were as serious as we were, apparently. So she.
Oh God! Yeah. Okay.
She was doing things.
So she didn't know that you guys were committed, and.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, right.
She was still single, ready to mingle.
That's the story that she told.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
that in itself, and she also knew that I came out of a throuple. So I think there was, I don't know if it was a communication error or what, but I don't know, like there was already mistrust on my portion of it. Going into it, and like I thought I could forgive her because I was used to being in scenarios like that, but it did weigh on me for.
God. I feel like that's hard to get past. Once the trust is broken, it's very hard to gain back, don't you think?
And especially in relationships like that, where you are bringing in other people, if the communication is not on
trust
point,
is everything.
Like, yeah, exacally. Everyone has to be on the same page,
right? And the trust should be easier because there's. It's hard to do wrong, right? Like if someone's having an affair and doing it behind someone's back, like that's a different story. Like you have a pass to go do those things.
Yes.
Now, granted, there are rules to everything. Like, and again, you set up your boundaries and you set up what you are comfortable or not comfortable with from the start. And so if those are broken, again, that trust is everything.
What was it like fighting with 2 women at the same time? Like, did you ever get in fights where it was like both of them against you? Yeah, like I can't imagine. Like,
I'm a very non-confrontational kind of guy. There was a lot of mood swings in the house. Quite a bit of mood swings. And you never know. I never knew what was when I'd go home, like what I was going to be walking into. Like, because either there was a problem with the kid, or she said the wrong thing that she didn't like, and so again, it is a balancing act in trying to appease everyone in the house.
And if you did you feel like if you did something for one, you had to do something for the other? Like if you were bringing flowers home, did you have to pick up like 2 bunches of flowers, or if you were bringing whatever, like you had to do double duty because you couldn't do one for one and not do for the other?
You know what? Yes and no. I got away with not having to do that sometimes because I would do things while I was out.
Okay.
With the other one, but it wouldn't be like double flowers. Like if I did something, it would be individual to them. So if Jane really loved flowers, but the other one really loves like a cookie bouquet.
Okay.
Then I would do
what fit their personality or what fit their like preferences.
I didn't do like a Groupon Costco gift. Like it was like
Imagine.
it was definitely like specific to their personalities.
You get like the 4-pack of gift cards, and you're like, this one's for you, this one's for you.
Everything's BOGO. Everything's BOGO. Like, it's fine. I can't afford it if it's not.
So fast forward to today. Are you dating? Are you on the apps?
So I am dating, and I mean dating. So I just turned 50.
Wow,
you look great
so
for your age.
I'm wearing a hat because I'm going
wrinkles.
bald right now. It's not pleasant. It's not a good thing to look at anymore. But dating at 50 is horrifically bad. Like horrifically
Why?
bad. Well, for multiple reasons. Well, one, it's not even. I think you're going over more medications and things that are going wrong with you now, as opposed to like, hey, let's go to Cabo
like
this weekend.
Comparing
like,
your knee pain, like whose knee and hip pain is worse.
You're talking about drugs and things like, and not the good ones. You're talking about, you're like, how's your blood pressure today? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's good. Yeah, you have to plan everything. Like I'm lactose intolerant. I can't go out. If there's a cheese stick, it's gonna ruin my night. Like it's not like, it's a lot more planning. So like, just being older and plus. You know, when you're meeting people that are 50, like they have baggage. Like there's a lot of things coming with it, and you're dealing with their past relationships, which is probably a multitude of them at this point in time. And I'm not saying I date all 50-year-olds either. Like I do date.
I was just going to ask that. What your preference is? Is your preference to date women your age or to date women younger or older?
Well, so I used to have a rule that I was cool with like 10 up or 10 down. Like that was my thing, and I never really did the 10 up, but I would say it, you know, for
that you were open to it,
PC purposes.
Yeah.
But now, and I feel like men tend to date younger anyway.
Typically,
it's easier to impress,
especially here.
Yeah.
Well, it's easier to impress a young woman. It's easier to, you know, appease them, I guess, but maybe actually it's not easier to appease them. I don't know why I said that, but it's arm candy or trophy wife or whatever, self-esteem booster, whatever the case is. But you also find out that like it's just a lot more work. Like if you date an older woman, like they already know, like, hey, I got to get up early, I got to do this, I got to do that. Like they're gonna care about your back pain or something, you know, if, like, you're going to be planning stuff. They'll be like, Matt's broke his back in the Marine Corps. He probably doesn't want to hike Kilimanjaro. Like there's, where the other one's like, Daddy, I want to. And you're like, no. So, you know, there is significant differences when it comes to that. So I don't know. And then everybody's got their own stuff at this point too. So, you know, if you're 50, like I just lost, you know, my house in Chandler and all that other thing, and now I'm back in like a townhouse, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. But like you're
back in your bachelor pad.
Back in the, Like, unfortunately, my bachelor pad, I only took the things that came out of my kids' room. So I've got a Star Wars bachelor pad, so it looks like I'm a 12-year-old.
No more California cake.
No. Actually, it was one of my first purchases. But yeah, so it's just.
So what's the worst date that you've ever been on? Do you have a disaster date story?
Disaster date.
Or catfish.
Besides our date that we went on?
Date, yes. On the Bachelor intro.
What was your guys' date? I want to know.
We did a date for the Bachelorette. And it was a phenomenal date. Was
that where they came to film in the Mint?
In the Mint, yeah.
In the Mint. So they had this grandiose idea to film me going on dates with a bunch of dudes, and the date was just hard. It was supposed to be bad dates, right? I forget. It was so long ago.
Like, was it part of your promo for The Bachelor?
It was part of the promo, yes.
Okay.
It was part of promo.
Okay.
And so I had to get like a few guys to come in and act like they were going on a date with me.
Okay.
So she had good dates, and then she had one bad date.
And you were the bad date?
And she was like, Matt, I feel as though you'd be the worst date ever. And I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. Let's do it. And so we went, and funny. It was the worst date. Like we recreated the date. It was fictional, but it was.
So that was officially your worst date ever?
It was well, they stopped filming 3 times because they were laughing so much. It was,
I remember
it was
that.
actually fantastic, and then unfortunately it didn't air because it
Didn't make the cut.
Why? Because you didn't make it?
Because you didn't make the cut? They chose, so they did a bunch of, they had a bunch of different intros and they didn't pick that one. They picked another one with me.
With your, and where you came out in all your different outfits.
No, this was going to be your backstory.
Was it?
Later on in the series.
In this season or something. Season. Interesting.
But I got the boot.
Interesting.
The boot.
So, let's see. Do you have any embarrassing stories?
No, but I've had bad dates before. Like I had a date that was so bad I faked Tourette's.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I started talking to the chair next to me because I thought this girl was so crazy that I was like, I don't know how to get out of here without, like, I can't hurt people's feelings. Like, I'm horrible. I told you I'm not good at confrontation. So I was like, how do I get out of this? And I just started talking to the chair next to me.
You just had to, like, out crazy her crazy?
Yeah. I was like, I heard her.
Oh, my God.
It was. And
so how did she
oddly
act
enough, she stayed for a long time. I'm like, she is not biting on this.
Was it a dinner, though? She was probably hungry.
Waiting for her food.
And I think we were like, it wasn't even a good dinner. I think we were like oregano's or something. I'm not saying it was bad.
I love oregano's.
Like, it was good, but it wasn't like I took her to like, Mastro's or anything. It was just like a normal date. But
that's funny. So do you have an embarrassing story? Did something embarrassing happen to you on a date? Or to the lady?
Embarrassing. I did have a date where I had an ex approach the table.
Ooh, I've had that happen. I've had that happen.
So the ex saw that you were on a date and actually came up.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
Well, I thought she was going to be like mean or say something, but like she was like very complimentary and was like, this is the one that got away. And like, I'm like, what? It threw me off completely. I didn't even know what to say. I was like, I don't know how to react to this because I thought I was like, that one didn't end well, I don't think. And so I thought she was going to, go off her rocker, but she just said nothing but nice things and like,
how nice.
Pumped me up. And then this other girl was like, oh, well now.
Yeah. It probably worked in your favor.
It wasn't embarrassing. It definitely worked in my favor.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was on a date and I went to the restroom and I came out and he's like, you have toilet paper hanging from your jeans. You thought everyone was staring at your ass, didn't you? Cringe.
Was it clean?
Oh my God. I've done something similar to that. I wasn't on a date. I was with my ex. Like we had been together for a long time and we were where were we? We were in Mexico. We were on Isla Mujeres, which is like an island off of Cancun, and we were at this reggae bar.
I like how you're just getting fancy. We were in the islands.
And then I'm like, where were we? No, but we were at this reggae bar, and it was so hot and humid. And I went to the restroom, and the restroom was like all the way back into the back of the restaurant, and I had a swimsuit on, right, and like a little skirt cover-up thing, and it was a new swimsuit, and I was walking back to the table, and I don't know why, it was so hot and humid. I didn't want to pull my swimsuit bottoms down, so I just pulled them to the side to pee, and then put them back.
This can't go wrong.
And oh my God, no, it was so bad. It was so
Was your vagina?
Sticky. Listen, so I'm like walking back to the table and like just like think I'm so hot shit, right? And I'm just like, new bikini, whatever. And my ex, I get back to the table and I'm standing there and he's looking at me and I was like, what? And he was like, you your pussy's out right now. And I looked at her, I was like, oh my God. I was mortified. Like I was so embarrassed.
So your vag is literally hanging out?
Just half of it. Where I didn't like slide my swimsuit back completely. And it was one of those wraparound tie skirts that's like slit all the way up, right? So it was like blowing in the wind behind me. As I was walking back to the table, I was so embarrassed. Like I'm probably red right now because I'm having like secondhand embarrassment. And this was like probably like 7 years ago and I'm still embarrassed by it. Like, but then I'm like, everyone's on vacation. Like no one's ever going to see me again. So if you were at the reggae bar that day, like I apologize to you, like because my snatch
It didn't sound like it went well or it went poorly.
No,
like,
it didn't go
poorly.
Nobody's
like, ooh. No. Like everybody's like, oh, hey.
I was like Naomi Campbell on the runway. I felt like everyone was just like, oh, who is that hot chick? And then I get there and he's just like, your pussy's out, right? Like, oh my God.
So
what lip service?
Hanging in the wind.
And wait, did you say your throat was blowing? What was blowing the wind? I missed something.
Skirt,
the skirt. Oh, okay.
I
thought your lip was just.
No, I do not have an Audi. Okay.
You do now. According to America, you do now. So everyone just visualize what that looked like. I just want you to know. And
do you have any unique talents or unique facts that not many people know about you?
This is I can unicycle.
Can you really? I've never
can you? I'd like to try.
It's hard.
I can.
I have no balance.
I wanted to. I was gonna run away to clown college when I was like 8 years old, and I knew how to do like stilts and unicycle and like all sorts of stuff. Probably not what you're looking for, but is that a talent?
That is a talent.
I wish I could unicycle.
Unicycle and juggle.
Do you really wish?
Kind of.
Is that a
kind of.
When is that ever going to come into play? When is that handy?
Like, couldn't you just like bring your unicycle like out to Sunday brunch with you, and you're like on a patio somewhere, and you just like bust out the unicycle?
I suppose you could.
Like, wouldn't it be kind of fun?
It's very easy to get in your car since there's only one wheel.
Exactly.
But, and I have had that happen. Like I had a magician come to a show, and he brought a unicycle to juggle on, and then like he took it outside, and I was like, hey. Can I get on your unicycle? And he's like, no. And then I jumped on it like in front of all the crowds that was there. And honestly, it was a big hit. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, this guy's so talented. See? But that's not normally something you put on the dating app. Like
maybe you should. Maybe it would help. Maybe it would help.
Yeah. That is just straight nerddom right there.
So it's, you know what time it is, Jess?
Time for the Keep More Minute.
Time for the Keep More Minute.
All right. The Keep More Minute is sponsored by Tactical Tax Strategies. They help you keep more in your wallet. We help you keep more in your relationship. So the Keep More Minute is a listener question. We've got this week Patricia, Miss Patricia. She's ready to date after grieving her late husband. She is in her 70s, and she is worried that men her age won't be able to keep up with her insatiable sexual appetite. Wow, Miss Patricia is spicy. Should she carry speaking of fun drugs, should she carry a supply of blue pills with her? And how do you kindly ask a man to take one?
So I don't think she's got to worry, because I have a friend who's in her 70s, and she is saying that the guys are horny AF. She's like, the sex drive doesn't go down. You actually get a second wind and it goes up. And she has guys sending her like constant dick pics that she shows me. And she's so funny. She's like, I tell them, honey, I don't want to see your dick pics. I want to see a pic of your bank statement, honey. And then, so she recently bought a house, and the home inspector did the inspection, and as he leaves, he says, honey, I do more than just home inspections. And he later on in the day sent her a picture of him cleaning a pool in a leopard print thong. No joke. And he's like in his 70s. So I don't think she has a problem, but what is your advice?
Do you have advice?
Well, it is like the STDs and everything in Sun City, like old people are
it's rampant in the like nursing homes.
I mean, you have nothing to lose at this point. Like, who's worried about anything? Like
it's true.
You never know when you're gonna die anymore. So you're like, let's go for it. So they don't.
You read these articles about these nursing homes that have outbreaks of STDs. Because they're probably wilder than us.
They're like ordering penicillin shots for the entire
what do they care? They don't have feeling half the time anyway. So what's a little itch?
I think too that most men are pretty most men are like, if it's not working down there, like they know it. So it's like, I don't feel like it's necessarily usually the woman's job to be like, hey, let's take a little blue pill.
Like, you know what? I think Viagra should be the new hard candy. Like, I think there's a doily with blue pills on the thing. As soon as you walk in, you feel like you see the plastic on the couch.
No more Werther's.
Shit's about to go down.
No more Werther's originals. It's a candy dish.
This girl's a squirter. She's got plastic on the sheets and blue pills instead of butterscotch candies. Like, let's do this.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, good luck, Patricia.
Patricia, call me. Patricia.
Not single.
I'm single.
And he doesn't need the blue pills.
I still need them. I'm 50, got a broken back, but it's fine.
So I want to talk about this article. We brought it up briefly on the last episode. There's a list of places that they say do not go on a first date. Okay, and we talked about the Chili's, the Applebee's, but there are some others I'd like to go over. Your house, that's probably not smart, right?
Oh, I will never. That's a no for me. Like, that's how you get killed. That's how you get unalived. That's how
you get on a documentary about serial killers, right?
Yes.
And Any fast food chains?
I feel like I've been invited to several people's homes.
And he's like showing up at the door, ding dong.
I think that depends on what app you're on.
True.
That's very true.
You know,
yeah.
if you're on Tinder or something, you're going to the house. If you're on
Craigslist.
Is Tinder like hookup now only? Is that the deal with Tinder?
I feel like Tinder's been hookup only for
a long time.
After 3 weeks of Tinder opened, but like.
Well, you met your husband on Tinder.
I swiped right, baby. Love it first swipe. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning it wasn't, but like
for a long
soon
time
after it has been.
So another one is this question: a buffet. Who takes someone to a buffet? The only buffet a guy should be eating on a first date with me is in between my legs. That's the only all-you-can-eat buffet they should be indulging in.
You're like, on the first date, the only buffet you're eating is this. I don't want you to have different choices. You're gonna take the fish.
I think buffets,
all you can eat, baby.
I think buffets are gross in general.
They are so
anyways.
The food's sitting out there getting
yes.
stale. And sushi buffets. Who goes to an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet?
No.
Okay, well, again, it depends on where. If you're in Vegas, a buffet is a wonderful place to go.
That is true. The brunch buffets in Vegas.
Or if you go to like Fogo de Chao, like that is considered like there's the buffet table, but like. Although you don't want to get the meat sweats on the first date either. Like that's
probably not a great first date.
It's probably not the best first date either. Like the cheese plate, the meats, again.
Yeah.
As you get older, things get a little crazy. You got to be careful what you're doing.
The tummy issues.
Yeah.
So you're going to have issues with this. They say coffee dates, Starbucks, ice cream dates. You're all for that, right?
Oh, a coffee, yes, for sure. I'm not a big Starbucks. I mean, no offense to Starbucks, but like their coffee's kind of trash. Like, I do like a first date coffee date. Yeah.
That's like so impersonal. That's like a business meeting.
Well, kind of, because like can't you tell if you're gonna like a person based on a 40-minute coffee? I can.
I guess so. I feel like you know if you're gonna like a person before you even get there, though. Like, do you guys talk on the phone beforehand, or you just text until you get to the coffee?
Just kind of text until you get to coffee, like, because I like to feel someone's like energy in person. So like I will do, I guess, like a quick FaceTime just to make sure that they're a real person.
You're not getting catfished, or?
But I also don't meet people online. So like I only really go on dates with people that I meet either out or people that I meet through friends. So I don't know.
Okay, but see, even in that same vein, like if you've already met them, like what's the point of going to a coffee place? So you already have that initial
interest,
attraction or spark or
that's true. So then we don't need to do coffee. Then I would go for ice cream though.
Right? Yeah. I think
ice cream is probably playful. And you can,
This one I agree with family functions. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah,
if I brought any guy to a family function on the first day, I'd never, ever have a second date.
That's a no for me.
Family. IHOP. I like IHOP. Their pancakes are good. Nice breakfast at the IHOP.
Do you like
So
IHOP?
if a woman with big boobs works at Hooters, shouldn't a woman with one leg work at IHOP? Sorry, I had to squeeze that joke in there. Another one is
mom joke.
You should use that. You should use that at your next show, Matt. Write it down. Make sure you write that one down.
Oh no, IHOP. I'm sorry, IHOP.
So they say somewhere that requires a long drive. Like again, unless you want to end up dead in the desert.
Go for a long drive.
Long drive.
However, I feel like maybe not the first date, but I feel like long drives are.
It's a good way to weed someone out.
Yeah, like if you. Like that is the test of any relationship. If you go on a car ride that is longer than 6 hours, I feel like you'll know everything you need to know about that person.
Yeah, that's true.
Because people can fake it for 3 or 4 hours,
they can,
but once
also
you get to
can't escape. Like if you get to the point, if you're like 3 hours in and you get to the point where you're like, oh man, this is not the person that I want to be with, then you're stuck with them for the rest of the trip and the trip back.
Or you just stop and kick him out. Like, bye.
So I have a funny story. Uber. I was going on a first date. It was a blind date. A friend referred this guy to me. And we were going to go to Pastino's at 5. And he calls me that day and he says, change of plans. I'm going to pick you up at 3. I forgot I had made a prior commitment, but I'm going to bring you along. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, just wear underwear. I'm like, what the hell is this guy planning? Like, what? But he was referred to me from a friend. She spoke so highly of him.
Well, we all know you don't wear underwear normally.
Right? It was just such a weird comment.
At least back then, there was never any underwear.
So he picks me up.
You wear none. She wears half a lip. Half a lip and none. That's all we've got.
So he picks me up, he's like, surprise, we're flying to Vegas. Our flight leaves in 30 minutes. I forgot I had a reunion with guys I went to medical school with in Vegas at Excess, so I'm just going to bring you along. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a first date. Like, I'm having anxiety. Like, do I just tell him to drop me off now and get an Uber home? What do I do? Do I go? Do I be spontaneous? Do I be adventurous? I was in my early 20s, so I'm like, I'm just going to go for it. So we fly to Vegas, and he was wanting to party at the clubs till 6 a.m. and take the first flight back. I can't do that. I don't do any type of drugs, so I can't stay up that long. So he got me a room all the rooms were booked out because of conferences. You know how Vegas goes. So we stayed at Hooters. Perfect fitting after my joke. We stayed at the Hooters hotel. And anyways, it wasn't as bad as I was, giving myself anxiety about. But anyways, so on a first date, I went on a long trip. But so another one is sport events. I think that's a good first date. Don't you think? A basketball game, a football game?
Again, it's kind of like a movie. You can't really talk, like it's loud. You're not really finding out. You'll see if she's a sports fan, I guess. Yeah. But like, that's not.
And again, if you're not like really, really vibing with the person, like then you're stuck there. Yeah. Like you're stuck. I just feel like for first dates, they should be just like short and sweet.
Yeah,
a little.
Sweet.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah,
I don't see now. I feel like it should be. I guess after Starbucks, if it's going well, you can continue.
Yes. So like the plan should be short and sweet, but it could always evolve into something longer. It could always evolve in like how whatever that article said, like don't ask to go to dinner after you've had drinks. But like I feel like it could evolve into, coffee or lunch could evolve into like an afternoon activity of something different if it is going well.
So now it's time for the juiciest segment of the show, the celebrity cut, where we marinate in the juices of the celebrities. So I want to talk about the update on Bonnie Blue. Do you know Bonnie Blue? She's the one that broke the world record. She had sex with not just 1,000 men in 12 hours. She had sex with 1,057 men in 12 hours.
Wait, she did? She did her thing?
And guess what? I did the math this time and I got it right. That gives each man 40 seconds with her.
No.
Can you pleasure yourself in 40 seconds?
Listen, some of them only needed 3.
That's true.
That is true. That is true.
But yeah, so she did it. And
1,000 how many?
1,057.
Ew. Like hours. That is so gross. But
so yeah, she's the Guinness Book of World Record holder now. But it's funny because I was reading some interviews with her, and she blames women for cheating. She says women, they nag and they're boring. And this is a quote from her. If women were better in the bedroom, men wouldn't cheat. All their nagging about pots not being cleaned is resulting in me being bent over their kitchen counters while they're out. That is the quote from Bonnie Blue. Isn't that crazy?
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you.
So now, Matt,
it had to be said.
What had to be said? Somebody had to say it.
What is your favorite place to go on a date?
Bonnie Blue's house. My favorite place to go. Okay, so this is gonna not hit well for any of you guys because I do all the bad things that you guys just talked about. Both my marriages. My first date that I took both of them on was to Disneyland.
I kind of like that too. I'm not gonna lie.
Like that was my first date.
Oh,
I'd have to.
One was Disneyland, one was Disney World. But so
you're big balling it because that's expensive. That's an expensive first date.
Well, so it
wasn't as
second
expensive
one.
back then.
The second one, the Disney World one was like we met on COVID, so we didn't date because we were doing the movie. But then we got quarantined and whatever. So the first date we could do, like Florida was the only place open. Like we couldn't go anywhere. So I was like,
Florida just didn't give a fuck.
So we're going, yeah, which is hilarious because that's where all the people that could die from COVID were in Florida, but or from what they were saying. So like to me, that was like, all right, let's just get out of here and go see it. And that is a very long trip, both of them, either because I drove to Disneyland and then we flew to Florida. But Florida's even longer but we already knew we kind of liked it because it wasn't like a first date. It was a first official date, but we already knew each other for a month. But the other one was like a spontaneous, like after a comedy show, like we drove all night to go to Disneyland, spend the day at Disneyland, and then come back. But apparently that's a great date because both of them turned out to.
They ended in relationships for both of them. Yeah.
Had the happy ending, fairy tale ending.
Well,
not so quiet. You're here.
I mean, there was a couple happy endings.
So now it's time for the juiciest segment of the show, the meat grab. Are you down for the challenge? Up for the grab? Willing to share? Pick one if you dare.
Uh-oh.
There's a box in there.
Got it?
I got it. Just
some of the questions are innocent, some are not so innocent. Pick one at your own risk.
Okay. It's a dare. Are we allowed to dares?
What is the dare?
What is your favorite sex position and why? Is this for me? I
Yeah,
feel like I read the question.
No,
you know what?
it's
I
for
read the
you.
question. What is your favorite sex position and why?
I am not the guest on this show
listen,
right now.
It's a role
Matt.
reversal. Role reversal. I'm going to ask you guys, and then I'll answer afterwards.
I don't want to go first.
Listen,
Lindsay,
no.
you go first.
Ladies always go first.
I like them all. How can I pick? Different days, different positions. You know, you have certain lips you need to be scratched. You know, scratch it a different way every time.
That is a bogus answer.
I don't discriminate.
You don't discriminate.
Answer, Matt. Why are you shy?
No,
are you getting shy on us?
No, I'm not getting shy.
He's turning this whole thing around.
Yeah, no, because people want to know about you guys too.
My favorite is in the morning when you're laying like back to front, like sideways. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Back to front. Oh, so you're back.
So like big spoon, little spoon,
like
kind
big
of.
spoon, little spoon, and I'm the little spoon, obviously.
Right. Yeah. I hope not, or maybe not. Now, pegging's a big thing now too.
It is.
I'm
pegging
not
is
into it.
yeah.
Not into it.
I mean,
not into
feel
it.
your manliness. Yeah. So you didn't want the morning breath sex. You're not facing each other.
Yeah. No, not facing each other. Mm-mm.
I mean, I'm very old school. Like I like to be ridden.
Yeah.
Like that's like her, and not like not reverse cap. Like I want to see, like the connection and
you want to look into her eyes,
the eye contact, and like I feel like that's the deepest we can go. if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. You can go deeper. So I've been told.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us this week at the Meat Market. Thank you so much to Matt. If you want to meet Matt, like, follow, and subscribe on our socials and send us a DM at Meat Market Podcast. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Tactical Tax Strategies. If you want to preserve your wealth this tax season and keep more in your wallet, contact Tactical Tax Strategies. See you next week at the Meat Market.
Bye.
Oh my God, I just totally got catfished. He looks absolutely nothing like his picture.
So I found out the guy that I've been dating is married with kids. His wife just reached out to me.